Hey writers, Ingrid Sundberg here, and this is Ingrid's Notes, where I'm talking about creative writing, craft, and process. And it's been about 2 weeks that I've been in my writing retreat here in Maine working on the Nevers. And about a week and a half in, I hit a big roadblock. I decided kind of to throw my novel away. I mean, not throw away is dramatic, but I decided I needed to really start over. I went back to my heart theme. I went back to kind of the core emotional elements of the story and the character that I wanted to write about, and I've started again. I know, started again. That seems crazy and intense, but it's been actually really clarifying and helpful and good. And so I'm doing a little bit of a new process with my journaling that I want to talk about. The big thing I've done is I've changed the way I start my journaling statements. Rather than saying, I am going to do X, Y, Z, now I'm asking to sort of receive. And the statement instead is, what would it take to? So in the past when I journal, and I did another video about this, the statements are more definitive, right? They are, I am rocking this book. I have figured out what the plot is. This story is emotional and intense and a page turner. And that system works really, really well for me when I'm in that drafting space where I kind of know mostly about where the book is going, what's happening. It's kind of like a personal rah, rah, rah cheerleader, get you going and moving kind of practice to get the words flowing. But right now I'm kind of in a very different space where I have to surrender a little more to the fact that the work I've done thus far I need to let go of. And so I've changed my journaling to be less about rah, 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 go get it, and more about, it sounds woo-woo, but letting the universe, so to speak, or the energy or creativity or whatever words you want to use for that, to be open to receiving that. So here's what I wrote in my journal this morning. What would it take to complete this novel? What would it take to figure out the plot holes? What would it take to get specific with this story and move away from amorphous ideas? What would it take to stay honest to the heart of this book? What would it take to break my compulsive need to work, 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 making me disappointed when I don't hit big goals? What would it take to forgive myself for all the years I haven't been able to complete this project and the shame that I've built up about that fact? What would it take to see clearly the path, story, plot of this novel? What would it take to leave this retreat with that knowledge? What would it take to feel complete joy, success, pride, and happiness in all that I've accomplished in the last few weeks? What would it take to put my guilt, pressure, and negativity aside? What would it take to know I'm moving forward with clarity, conviction, excitement, and joy? So I've been doing this practice for, not quite a week. I've also not been doing as much writing. I've been doing a lot of things like going for long walks here in the woods or down on the shore by the ocean. I've been doing some meditation. I've been really, it's about the surrender, right? It's about not trying to force it, not trying to make it work because I gave myself this time and I'm on this retreat and I had a goal of finishing a draft, which, right, I've already accepted that's not happening, and that's okay. And here's kind of the amazing part about that, is that the second I did that, I started writing and I could hear my character's voice in a new way, right? I started to hear kind of that heart and that emotional pain and that third rail, like that I can start to feel in the little amount of writing I've started to do since, but it is completely transforming the book. Like that third rail, that energy, that emotional heart, that can move me through this entire book. I know that. I trust that. That's how I wrote my first novel that was published, All We Left Behind, was by following that emotional heart that I trusted and cared about. And a lot of this other stuff has been about letting go, surrendering, trusting the process, knowing I'm headed in the wrong direction, even though that means I have to discard a lot of work and writing and words and pages and pages and pages that I have completed in the past that just weren't the story I cared about. So in addition to doing this journaling practice, I actually have not done a lot of writing. I've spent a lot of time doing things like meditation, energy clearing, going for long, long walks in the woods, and on the beach, and bringing my journal with me and, writing down ideas and inspirations as they come. But I'm trying really hard not to force it, not to force using some sort of template or idea that I got in a book, but really to let this story speak to me. And since I've started doing that, the little amount of writing I have done has really transformed. I can now hear my protagonist's voice in a way that I couldn't before. That soul searching about my heart theme and the emotional third rail, that, like, now when I'm writing, that comes alive in a way this story just didn't have before. And I know I can trust that because I heard that when I was writing my novel, All We Left Behind, and I trusted that and I followed that. And I know that's what I need to do here, that all of these things that we learn and we teach about and all of the work that I've done on this book. I mean, I started this book in 2013. I have, 500 to 1,000 pages of work that I've put into it, a ton of work. But it was all going in the wrong direction. I was looking at the wrong things. I couldn't hear that emotional heart. And now that I hear it, it's like, bam. And I'm really excited. So I'm enjoying this space of just receiving what this story is. I know that sounds so cheesy, but sometimes you just have to stop forcing it, step back, and just let that creative space and those important themes and ideas come to you and flow through you. I've also been crying a lot because when you write your story and you hit that emotional third rail, just damn, it really just, it knocks you over, because that heart theme, that thing you care so much about, for me, it's a pretty dark, painful heart theme. And I should do another video where I talk about really learning the root of that and what happened in my life that actually resonates with that. But now when I feel it and I'm writing it through my character, it is just, wow, it's on fire. And that's what you want when you're writing. You want to feel that energy, whether it's joy or pain. For me, it's painful and it's sad and it's sorrow, because I love those things. Actually, I think they're fascinating and beautiful and worth exploring. But whatever it is, like, you need to feel that. That needs to be in you while you're writing, because that's the energy that gets transferred into your words, and your reader can feel when they're reading it on the other end. That if it's the other way, right, which is what it's been, is frustrated and, oh, I'm trying to figure out how all these plot pieces come together and what's going on here. Would you just tell me? Like that you can feel in those 500 pages I wrote in the past, right? That's why it wasn't working, because I wasn't truly listening. Once again, this is Ingrid's Notes, and I thank you for being on this journey with me while I'm on my writing retreat, and I'm working my way through this messy, beautiful process of creation. And I wish you the patience and the space and the joy and the openness to hear what your story is really trying to tell you as well.